I want to do a video series where I answer questions that a lot of buyers have come to me and asked when we start the process of looking for a house. And this isn't to call out anyone in particular, so if you feel like this video applies to you, it's not you. There's about 500 people that have asked me the same thing, which is why I thought maybe it'd be useful to do a video. So the biggest thing is, how do I start? How do I buy my first house? First and foremost, I would say go to a lender. And I'm sure you've heard that a million times, but only because it's true. That's where you should start. Usually an agent that you might be working with or hoping to work with should have a few lenders they could recommend you to. And I would say before we go any further, go ahead and take their advice. If they are recommending or referring someone, it's because they know that that person can get the job done, that they can help guide you through if any tough financing obstacles come up. They have resources. They might have different loan programs that can give you options as to how you finance your home. So take your agent's advice. Don't think, oh, maybe I always bank with this guy, or I belong to this credit union, so I think I'm just going to use them. No. Your agent has closed deals with other lenders before, and you should go ahead and take, like I said, heed their advice and take their recommendation. All right, so if you think, you've been looking at Zillow, you see what mortgage estimates are like, and you think, okay, well, my budget's probably around XYZ. That's not how you determine your budget. You think like, okay, yeah, I can afford this amount that it's estimating per month, but you're not the one that gets to decide that, unfortunately. It's the bank that can decide how much you can afford of a house. And they are pretty strict about things. This is why we don't see a lot of houses in foreclosure, because they have gotten a lot stricter about what they are willing to lend on. So you want to go to your lender. You're going to be hopefully truthful about what you make, what debts you have. And if you're not, they will find out later, and it'll just make the process harder. So just be upfront from the beginning. They're going to ask for proof of income, so like a few pay stubs. They'll ask for tax returns. They're basically going to gather a lot of financial information about you, and as the process goes on and once an offer is accepted and you're under contract and they're going through your financing, they're going to ask for even more documentation. So be prepared on that front. Ultimately, things like your credit score, your debt to income ratio, and those are all things that are going to matter in how much house you can afford. And so that's why it's important to start there, because you don't want to be searching thinking you have XYZ budget in mind, and then you go through the process and your lender gets on board, and then you suddenly realize that your budget's a lot lower. Or maybe you have more room. Maybe it flips the other way, and then you can maybe expand your search. But either way, go ahead and start with that lender that your agent recommends. Second of all, you're going to want to make sure you have a realistic list of wants and needs in a house, especially being your first home. This isn't going to be your forever home. It's probably the first of many homes. So it's probably going to be something that's on the smaller side. You're probably not going to get all of those items that you want, but it is an investment, and it's going to be your home, so you want to make sure that there's at least most of your needs in that property. So make that list, make sure that's clear, work with your agent. I would say be flexible. Some people are really set on what neighborhoods and what areas they want or don't want, and we're really in a tough spot where there's not a lot of inventory that's nationwide, not just here in Tampa. So it's important to keep an open mind and look at areas you might not have thought of or really cared to look at, because there might be some properties that do fit your needs, and then go for it. Of course, if you have that room to fit some of your wants into your search, that's even better. And hopefully your agent can help find those properties that check those boxes with some flexibility. If your agent's saying like, hey, maybe we go take a look at this house, if you trust them, listen to them. There's been a few times where I have found a few houses that my clients hadn't even like really taken a look at. And when we go see them, I'm like, hey, let's just swing by. We're out already. I want you to see this one and see what it looks like. And they end up loving it. So don't dismiss that. Your agent knows what's in the market, and they can usually tell this might be a good option, even when you think that, oh, I've looked at Zillow for years and I live on Zillow, like I've seen everything. No, take their advice, listen to them. They are the professionals and they work in this market for a reason. So once you have your agent and your lender identified, and you've started your search, that's when your agent's going to guide you through the rest of the process. You'll put out offers. Hopefully you get a few accepted. It'd be really best case scenario that you get a few accepted and you can kind of choose which house you want. This doesn't always work out that way, again, with our inventory being limited, but your agent should guide you as to, okay, once your offer is accepted, this is what the timeline looks like. This is what happens next. I like to tell my buyers what they can expect. Like, say we put out an offer, if we think that seller is going to accept, I'm like, usually this is what the timeline's going to look like. That way you have an idea of what's coming down the road. And just, even if you're super detail oriented, my piece of advice is trust your agent. And that's why it's also a good another reason to find an agent that you trust and you know has done business and a decent amount of business, because they are going to have a lot of experience and they are going to be able to guide you appropriately.